Jeff.
No, there's no PowerPoint, I swear. So this weekend I told myself I wouldn't cry today because I'm a sap, and when Hoppa Hop spoke last night, I was this close, right? So once he stopped speaking, I was like, we're good, we made it through this. And then Jerry speaks, is a lot more humorous than I thought it was going to be, so I'm like, this is smooth sailing. Now Kendra's got me a lump over here, I'm like, Jesus Christ. No, but when Tom asked me best man, I was obviously very excited and honored, and we have an incredibly close group of friends. It could have been a number of us, and Casa, we're best men, right? So we have something that a lot of people don't get the chance to have, and I'm thankful for that. But when Tom asked me best man, I was obviously very excited and honored, and also a little nervous. Never given a best man speech before. And I was talking to my coworker who had just gotten married, and he was talking about his wedding and his best man speech. And he asked how long Tom and Krista have been together, and I said, since 2008. And he goes, my God, that poor fiance, it's 7 years. And I thought, my God, that's the fastest decision Tom's ever made in his life. Like, that was quick. But for those of you who don't know, I met Tom in 10th grade, and I moved from Florida. And out of our group of friends in our grade, I met Tom last, and I kept hearing, you have to meet Tom Hopkins, he's on the hockey team. I'm like, okay, perfect, awesome. And they're like, yeah, he's on the hockey team, he skateboards too, and we skateboard. I'm like, oh, cool, this is awesome. And they're like, oh, he surfs too, and golfs, and bodyboards, and surfs. And Jesus, and then I saw him, I was like, Jesus Christ. Competition is stiff around here. I was like, there's no way this kid plays hockey, he is way too happy. I always knew when Tom's at school in the mornings, I'd be sitting in my car, and I get there pretty early because I'm early to everything, and I feel my car get nudged forward, right? And I look in my rearview mirror, and Tom had bumped my car every morning, and all I see are these bright white teeth. And Tom's waving his biggest day. I'm like, Tom, we're at school and it's 7 in the morning, try frowning for once in your life, right? Jesus. But no, high school was incredible. We were pretty well behaved. We never started drinking until we went to the Walshy pub. And Jesus. And no, but our senior year, we won the championship. We started hanging out together more. And when college came around, Joe and I had the wonderful idea of getting a shore house, right? Because having a weekend or a week down the shore wasn't enough, so we needed an entire summer for liver damage and financial ruin. So. What would the best man speech be if I didn't tell a story from that summer or two, right? So, if I can explain Tom Hopkins in one story, this is it. So, we move into our house. Yeah, the cat's like, please God, tell us God. So we move into our house, right? And we're drinking one night. It's one of the first nights, if not the first night. Don't really remember. But Tom knows where this is going. So we're having a good time, right? We never imagined 3 months earlier that we were going to have our own house down the shore. So we're drinking, having a good time, and Tom here's feeling really good. So I think, being the good friend that I am, I'm going to take his beer away, right? So I walk up to him, and I take it away. Freshly cracked Coors Light. He doesn't budge, doesn't give it up. He keeps up with, yeah, there should have been a red flag. He gave it up without a fight. I thought, oh, this is strange. So I go and sit down on the couch with the guys, and I look up at Tom, and he's smirking at me. I'm like, what are you looking at? And I thought, well, Tom's always smiling. That's normal. Probably doesn't know where he is right now. So I go and I take a sip of this freshly cracked Coors Light, and I almost immediately spit it on the floor because it's not a fresh Coors Light. It was rum. Tom had cracked the beer open, chugged half of it, took a bottle of rum, and filled it to the top. So I did what any man should do. I stood up, Tom held his hand out, and I gave him his rum back and said, well played. It's like, Jesus, lesson learned, right? So no, never again. So a couple of weeks later, Tom and Krista meet, and this is true for most groups of guys, whether they admit it or not, but whenever there's a close group of friends and one of them gets a girlfriend, the kind of guys are like, what's going on here? Like, is she gonna take our friend away? Like, who's this girl? And after a couple weeks, you're like, who cares if Tom changes or leaves? Chris is awesome, we'll just hang. I knew it started getting pretty serious when Tom brought his longboard to our house, because Tom didn't go anywhere, like ever. He went to work and the beach, that's it. It got so bad we'd be at the table playing, drinking games, and I'd get to get a beer, and Tom's like, hey, can you get me a beer? I just ran out. I'm like, you've been sitting there for 5 minutes squirming in your chair because you don't want to get up and get yourself a beer. So eventually, I was like, Tom, to hang here, I'll bring back multiple beers. So every time I went to the fridge, brought 4 or 5. So if you see me carrying like 6 beers tonight, 4 for Tom here. I didn't learn my lesson. But it was mildly dangerous too, because that summer, many nights, we'd be doing our thing, drinking at the table, and all of a sudden Tom's gone. Like, Costi, you see Tom? No. Joe, have you? Nope, I haven't seen Tom. All right, I don't know where he went. Comes back in the door, scraped elbows, a cut face, knees are all scabbed up. All the guys are getting really worked up, like, who fought you? It's the first thing we thought for whatever reason. Not that we ever fought anybody or could. But we thought that, like, oh my god, someone must have beat you up, right? And like, Costa's furiously cleaning. When he gets mad, he cleans. Like, the house is spotless, right? Joe's like doing push-ups, Landon's curling in the fridge. It's just like, we're ready to go, right? And once we simmered down, Tom's like, no guys, I just fell off my longboard again. I'm like, Tom, start walking. Like, Jesus Christ. But this gets a lot better though. So the next summer, we got a house again because one entire summer of almost killing ourselves wasn't enough. So we get a house again for the summer, and Krista comes down for the weekend, and we're all sitting in the living room while the Hopkins and Tom and Krista went to this place called The Wharf. It's a bar. Yeah, you know what this is going to. So this is on the bay in Wildwood, and yeah. So. Oh wow, I didn't know that, but that's awesome. I probably said it here. So a bunch of us are sitting in the living room, and Tom and Krista walk in the door, okay, right? And they walk in the door, and we say hey, and they don't say a word to any of us. It's nothing, like we're not even there, right? And we're like, are they mad at us? I don't think so. We were talking to them throughout the day while they were at the bar, and I was like, are they mad at each other? No, it doesn't seem like it. So a bunch of us are sitting in the living room having a few beers after work, and Tom brings Krista to the futon that's next to us, and like this close to her face, starts singing. I mean, dead serious, like for real, like, not trying to be funny, like he wasn't joking or anything like that. And he's singing Something to Lose by Corey Smith, which is a love song, and I thought, oh my god, I said, Tom, we're right here. Nothing, right? And I don't think Krista even really like heard what Tom was saying or really even took it in, like what the words were. I think she was so infatuated with the fact that Tom was singing to her. That was a blessing in disguise because Tom sounded horrible. It was bad. I wanted to smile because it was really sweet, but it was like so bad. I was like, oh, that's nice. That was really good. Jesus. But then I thought, like, one summer he's pouring rum in his beer can, the next he's singing to his future wife, like, Chris, that's a power move. Like, I respect that. That's solid. But it hasn't always been that sweet, so just last year, right? So I come home from the weekend from DC, and Tom and I go to the bar. And Chris is like, guys, I can't take you home. I have work early in the morning, right? And we're like, fine, we'll get a cab, no problem. So we go to this bar called Prospector. You get there at 7 or 8, God knows, I don't know. And we close out the bar, it's 2 o'clock in the morning, and we think, all right, we need food. So we go to the gas station across the street, right? And it's closed. So we're like, okay, we'll walk to the grocery store down the street. It's a 24-hour one. So we get there, and it's like 2:30 in the morning. We get food. We're sitting outside on the curb, and we're like, all right, you know what? We'll call a cab. Well, they're around 2:30 in the morning in Milton, New Jersey, so we kind of look at each other, give each other the nod, call Krista. All right, so don't really remember how mad she was, but I can only assume that she was irritated, rightly so. So she picks us up, and we get back home, and instead of going to bed, Tom and I think, all right, you know, we'll have another beer or two, right? So we do that, and Chris is sleeping, so now you get it, right? So Chris is back asleep, just worked early in the morning. Tom and I have another beer, probably listening to Corey. So 2:30, 3 o'clock in the morning rolls around, and Tom's like, all right, it's time to go to bed. I say, I agree. Gets out the air mattress for me, and I can't figure out how to blow it up. Drank way too much. I'm like, Tom, give it a shot. Nothing, right? So again, we're like, give each other a nod. Get Krista. Krista comes out, blows the air mattress up, and all I remember is her like plugging it in, pressing the button, shaking her head like this. And like the next morning I woke up, I text Tom, he's still in the bedroom, I'm like, did you tell Krista sorry? He's like, already took care of it. I'm like, all right, thank you, man. Perfect, awesome. And like, that's how bad it's been. And then like, when I was looking at the registry, I saw an air mattress. I swear to God, I was like, I'm getting that because I'm going to use this. And so I went and bought it. It has the directions on the outside of the box. I was like, this is perfect. This is great. No, but seriously, watching you two grow together over the years has been incredible. You two wouldn't be here together without each other and the support of both of your families. It's been incredible watching you two grow together. And as Corey Smith says, this chapter is coming to an end, but your story is just beginning. So congratulations.